We're gonna do a little brief Q&A. I got some questions myself, but if you have a question, please raise your hand. If we could go ahead and bring house lights up all the way so that I can see people. Let's get started. So, Vince, tell us first what kind of got you guys started on this picture.
This was probably the first thing that James and I optioned about 5 years ago. It's an article in the New York Times that Gus Van Zandt called us and said, you guys should look at this and see if you want to option it. James read it, and we both read it, and we're like, yeah, we really do want to option this. And originally Gus was going to direct it, and James would star in it, but then it just got too crazy for Gus's schedule, and he recommended Justin Kelly, the director, and it was his. We watched some of his short films. We saw that he was very talented, and James loves working with first-time directors, so we were like, let's give this guy a chance.
This is his feature debut.
This is his feature debut, and he's going to be doing another film later this year with some major stars. That kind of unbelievable. It's coming together that quickly.
So tell me a little bit about where you guys shot this film, what it was like going from the based on the true story, where the liberties were, all that.
Yeah, so we shot in, the film takes place in Wyoming and Halifax and San Francisco, but we shot the majority of it in Long Island, New York. Mainly because, we needed the tax credit. With these kinds of films, it's like you have to, first off, you can't travel to everywhere because this is a very low budget movie. You can't travel to all these places, so you have to find a place where you can double Halifax or any of these other places and have a place where you can have a substantial tax credit. Georgia, New York, Louisiana, now Ohio. And so we shot the 95% of it in Long Island, and then like maybe 2 months later, we just went up to San Francisco and did some stuff up there. We're all from LA, so we just kind of drove up there and did it. And as far as liberties, we really stuck pretty much to the art. It was an article in the New York Times, so then we wrote the script from that. And we consulted with Michael Glatz the entire time, and we were very worried about what he was going to think about the movie. When we premiered at Sundance, he came and he watched it, and he was very, very excited by it. And I don't know what he's going to do now, but he's thinking about taking another direction in his life, or another turn in his life. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Maybe he'll write about it soon. So.
And as you guys have questions, you'll just hold your hands up and I'll point at you.
One other quick little thing, James. So we're shooting. James was supposed to be here tonight with me, but we're right now shooting the film in just about an hour outside of Atlanta, and we had to, at the last second, switch our schedule around. And he could not make it, and he wanted me to say thank you to everyone for coming to watch this. And hopefully you guys can make it for our other movie that's going to world premiere here in a couple days. When is it? Wednesday. And the amazing Abigail Spencer. I don't know, she's right here somewhere. Where is she? Oh, we love Abigail. And she's in it with James. And if you could make it, that'd be great. He'll be here.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the film you guys are shooting now?
We are shooting an adaptation of a John Steinbeck novel called In Dubious Battle, and it's about 1930s apple pickers that decide to strike and then unionize when their bosses decide to cut their wages in half. I have no idea why James has attracted this material, but we're doing it. He told me about 8 months ago he wanted to do this, and I'm like, what? Okay.
So tell me, you've worked with him for a number of years, quite some time. When you approach projects like this, like Heyday, like Dubious Battle, where do these start? Where do you guys, from a production standpoint, are you able to go, okay, here's how we're going to be able to pull this off, and like, how does all that start to happen?
Well, we're really good at doing low budget movies. We've done, James and I have done them for like maybe almost 15 years now. We're so, from his little art videos to tons of short films, probably 100 short films we've done, maybe 200, somewhere in that range. So when he wants to do some of these things, like something like In Dubious Battle, which we're doing now, it's still a very low, it's almost the same budget as this one, very, very low budget, but the material is very challenging, and I say to James, now I say to him, look, I cannot raise money for this unless we get major people to star in them. You star in them, you're directing them, and now, so he really took that to heart, and when we decide what project we're gonna do, he'll start literally every time he meets someone like Will Ferrell or Duvall or someone, he says, okay, I got something for you, and he'll pitch the project, and he's the best person ever to pitch a project. He's extremely persuasive, he's very passionate, so when he's pitching it to another very artistic person, they're like, yeah, I would love to do that. So these very low budget movies we do, we can only do them if there are major people in them nowadays. So that's where we start. I say, you've got to get me some people in it, and I'll go get the money. Yeah.
And so then what's the balance in terms of going, I mean, your role, I mean, obviously there's several producers and there's several kinds of producers. So what's the direction and what's the side that you normally take on?
Nowadays, because James and I have a production company together, and I run the production company, and we have Rabbit Bandini Productions, yeah. And we have about, I'd say, 50 things in various stages of development that I'm overseeing. So when we do a movie, I will be responsible for arranging the financing, and then I usually hand it off to other people that are in our company that are producers. And then when there are problems, then I'll come back in, but right, like, as of right now, another girl that works for our company, who's a producer, she is actually on the ground producing the movie in Boswood right now, which is like an hour or so outside of Atlanta. So, unfortunately, I can't be the one on the on the ground anymore. But it's good. You know, I'm kind of there when I need to be, and I jump out when I don't need to do that.
So we have time for probably a couple questions, and then we're all going to go party at Pears on Pots.
Nice.
Yeah. So right back there.
Thought it was a great film. What's it about? Is it faith, self-doubt, or performance anxiety?
That's a good question, and I tell you, the one thing we did not want to do was make some type of propaganda film. And so our director is, look, James and I are very, very open to all, homosexuals, all kinds of life. We don't care. And Justin, the director, is gay. Gus Van Sant is gay. Michael Glatz, we don't know what he is. Honestly don't. But what we did not want to do is sit there and go, this is about this. Our main goal was to say, this is the story. You guys take what you want from it. But it's an interesting question you bring up, because as we're right now in the midst of trying to sell this movie, we have many distributors, wanting to pick this movie up, but they're asking the same question you just asked. Are you a distributor?
I mean, to that end, tell us about where you guys leave off. I mean, that scene where I have this first service, and it's, I mean, tell us about creating, what it was like creating that, or what the intention was, dancing around like what we do or don't want to answer, and how you needed to, what you needed to do or not do in order to avoid answering.
Well, yeah, that last scene. We debated over it a very long time, because we were trying to imply that maybe this wasn't the right direction he should go in, and we got that from Michael, because sort of at the end of our interviews with him, he started doubting what he was doing, and so we really just wanted to say, it's not about faith. It's not about, it's just the story. It's really just about what this guy has done. And we don't want to make a statement about anything. Now that may have been, looking back on it, and it may have been a mistake to do that. Listening to what the distributors are saying to us right now, it may have been way more powerful had we said, we're going to take this position, and it's going to be a faith movie, or it's going to be a movie about homosexuals. I don't know, but right now it's kind of in the middle, and people were having a hard time going, well, how do I market this? Am I marketing it to middle America, to churches, or am I marketing it to the niche gay crowd? What am I doing? And so it's interesting right now. So we're dealing with that right now. So in other words, I really don't know how to answer that question.
We have time for one more question.
Have you had any, how has the reaction to the gay community been? Have you had any negative reactions from GLAAD or agencies?
This is Josh Greer who works on how.
Hi, Josh. We have, no one has said anything to me personally, but I've heard through the grapevine that there were, some of the gay community was upset because they thought that we were a proponent of what Michael was doing and has done. And it's just mind-boggling that, I mean, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I would love to hear what you guys think, but, you know, our creative team, I just don't understand how someone could think that with Franco starring in it, Gus Van Zandt producing it, and Justin, who, but they may not know Justin is gay, but just a gay director.
Probably somebody who hasn't seen it.
Exactly.
But
So,
I think the last 5 seconds of the film are very pro-gay,
yeah.
very positive and fun, and I think very intelligent on your part.
Thank you, I really
Because
appreciate
I think
it.
it's, I know Michael's story, and I think it's a very twisted story that was a reality, and you're telling a story. And I think that the end of the film is a good way to end it.
Yeah, well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Very pro-gay.
Very good.
On that, thank you so much, and thank you all again for coming. Be sure to grab your tickets on the way out.